What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Constant Sports. I am your host, Constance. And just a reminder, this is a channel where we focus on women's basketball, women's sports in general. Don't get that much playtime on Sports Center or any of the mainstream broadcasts, so we're going to do it here. All right, so yesterday ended the Sweet 16 of the NCAA Women's Tournament. Uh, great great basketball, amazing 16 teams. um, the first earlier two games with UConn, not UConn, my bad, but with South Carolina and UCLA. Very good game. I didn't get to watch that much of it since I was driving to the later games, um, but very good games. South Carolina came out with that W against UCLA, pretty much doing what they do, sticking to what they know. UCLA was one of the few teams that only lost to South Carolina by 10 points there in the regular season. So it's definitely a good matchup that everyone wanted to see. Another game I didn't get to really watch was the Notre Dame versus Maryland game, which was definitely a game that was not in Notre Dame's favor because of them not having two of their main starters, and Maryland is a very tough team. They are a very big team. That was a very good game as well, with Maryland coming out very decisive with a 76-59 game. So that's going to be a very good matchup between South Carolina and Maryland. I think it's going to be a very scrappy game. It's going to be a very fun game to watch as well. I did get to go and check out UConn versus Ohio State and Tennessee versus Virginia Tech. I'm going to start off with UConn, who, for some people, unfortunately had their streak ended on, 16 straight Elite Eight appearances. Ended yesterday by Ohio. And UConn just, it didn't seem right. Something was off. They wasn't playing their game at all. Maybe until the second half, they started to catch fire, but Ohio State was not a team that was going to let up. They didn't let up at all that entire game. The turnovers for UConn was very unlike them. They had 25 turnovers. It could have been more. They had 18 turnovers in the first half. So to go from 18 turnovers to the first half and then only ending with 25 was definitely much more of an improvement in that second half, but there still was minimum adjustments on how they were playing their defense. Number 32 on Ohio, McCannon, dominated. She 100% dominated this entire game. She ended up fouling out, but even then, she still dominated. She came back into the game with 4 fouls. They put her in at the end of the third quarter, and she played dang near the rest of the game. So UConn taking it to the basket kind of stopped. They wasn't getting a lot of good point play, like not point play, but there wasn't getting a lot of post play. Very good post play. Number 14, she started to wake up more in the fourth quarter, but by then they were down and it was just trying to catch back up. But if your defense wasn't stopping their offense, you finally making shots isn't going to change anything. So Ohio State played a very, very good game, all around game. Everyone was contributing. Their passing, they were very physical. It was a very physical game. What I have noticed in this entire tournament is free throws. Free throws are rough for every team across the board. They're not hitting their free throws at all. I think every game, at the minimum, every team is almost missing like at least 7 free throws. And sometimes it's free throws that really matter. It's free throws that could definitely change the course of the game, and they're just not hitting them. So I hope in the off season, going into next season, and for some of the teams that are still in, they figure out how to get them free throws better. Get in the gym more. Just sit there and shoot free throws, taking your time, relaxing. That is definitely a big thing. But yes, that UConn Ohio State game was very good. Very good job to Ohio State. They are now going to the Elite Eight. And they did that by knocking out UConn. And it was very fun. It was very nice to be there too. We sat next to a lot of the Ohio State fans. McCannon's mom was like right in front of us, so it was nice to see the excitement from all of the fans that came out from Ohio areas and actually came and watched these girls play basketball. It was amazing to see. Next team was Tennessee versus Virginia Tech, and I want to say this. I think that was the first Virginia Tech game I watched. So I was literally just a fan there watching the game, and Virginia Tech is good. They deserve their number 1 seed that they got. Their 3-point shooting, phenomenal. They don't have just one person who can hit the 3. They have at least 3 people on the floor at all time that can hit the 3-pointer, and they used it. Their post players are physical, especially we're going against Tennessee, whose post players, they have big players. Like, they have very big players. But that first half, Tennessee had no effort. I don't understand what it was. They played a later game, so it wasn't because it was early in the morning. They just had no effort at all. Rakia Jackson was pulled out a lot in that first half. She had maybe 7 points at halftime. Like, she wasn't she really didn't have a presence. And I thought it was strange because when she was on the floor, there was no double teams coming at her. They played her one-on-one. If she got the ball in the post, it was typical. She was a one-on-one with their post player. Maybe their guard might slide down and swat at the ball. But other than that, Virginia Tech played straight-up defense, and it worked for them because they are a physical team. And Tennessee is usually a physical team. It was just yesterday, they got 100% outplayed. Coming back from the half in the third quarter, they picked up the press. They started pressing Virginia Tech, which got them some turnovers, and the game became a little bit more interesting. It got close at one point. I think they got within 1 point, but the 3-pointers on Virginia Tech, them going into the lane, they were resilient. There was no stopping them. I get that Tennessee has come back from a lot of games from being down. I know a lot of people go back to when they were down by LSU, came back and won that game. You can be down against everyone and expect that you're going to be those comeback queens, come back and win the game. You can do that against certain teams, especially teams that you play a lot because you know how they play. But Tennessee and Virginia Tech, they don't play each other. So you thinking that the way you play basketball will work against everyone, and it's not. Sometimes you have to make adjustments in your game depending on who you're playing. And I just feel like Tennessee did not do that this game, and it cost them. They ended up losing that game. 70, I believe it was 73 to 64. It definitely could have been worse. That score definitely could have been worse if they didn't start pressing. If they didn't start pressing in that third quarter, they would have definitely got beat by at least 15 to 20 points. So that was a good adjustment by their coach. Tennessee will be a good team next year. Their players are coming back, so that should help them out a lot next year, being able to play again together. The familiarization with each other is going to work out. They just have some things they need to tweak. They need to figure out how to start a game strong and finish a game strong instead of starting really, really slow like they did yesterday and picking it up late in the third quarter. It was pretty much late in the third quarter that they started picking things up. It wasn't like instantly coming out of halftime. They were a totally different team. They still had to play, I would say, maybe the last 3 minutes of the third quarter, things started to pick up. And by then, Virginia Tech had already been on a roll. They played a very consistent game the entire game. They were into it. Their passing, their dribble penetration and passing, their dribble penetration and then popping the ball out to the outside shooters, whether it was a 3-pointer or just like a basic 16-foot jumper, was everything. And it's just Tennessee just didn't have an answer for how to guard the outside, and that hurt them. So you had Ohio State versus Virginia Tech, two physical playing teams. They both can shoot the three. It's going to be very nice to see what McCannon on Ohio State can do with Virginia Tech's post players. Virginia Tech post players are taller than her, but she still has more. She has size on them. So I think that's going to be a very good matchup that everyone should be excited to see. Just because you are taller than someone don't mean you're bigger than them, okay? Because if someone bigger than you puts their body into them, all they're going to do is push you a little bit, go up to the shot, and then you got to foul. So I do see McCannon getting a lot of free throw shots in, and I see her getting a lot of people fouls. Virginia Tech might have a couple people foul out they play on Monday, I believe. So the Elite Eight is set. Starting up today, Miami versus LSU, which we know is going to be a scrappy, defensive, all-out warfest. All-out warfest is what the game of LSU and Miami will be. I know that LSU is favored just because they are the number 3 seed. Miami is the number 9 seed. But that means absolutely nothing because Miami has been destroying all the seeds they've been going up against. And obviously all the seeds they've been going up against are ranked a lot better than they are. So they don't care about seeding. So LSU definitely doesn't care about seeding. So it's going to be a very hard-fought game. Very different from their previous games that they played with Miami going up against Villanova and LSU going up against Utah. The physicality was with LSU and Utah. Definitely should prepare them for their physicality they're going to have to go up against Miami. So that's going to be a very good game. And then Louisville and Iowa. Two teams that are also scrappy, but scrappy in the guard play. They're scrappy in the guard play, but Iowa Cesano in the post should feast. If they can get her the ball, they should feast because Louisville, I feel like they're a smaller team at some aspects, and a lot of the matchup everyone's going to be talking about Haley Van Leeuwen versus Caitlin Clark. Rightfully so. They're going to be probably guarding each other. Both these players can shoot the ball. Both these players can dribble penetrate, create their own shots, but they're also very good passers. And I think that's what's going to probably help Iowa out at points in time. If Caitlin Clark has that ball, she's looking for Cesano. 100%. That's the only person she's looking for. And if you focus too much on Caitlin Clark and Cesano, you're going to get burned by their other two guards because both of them can shoot the three-pointer and they're very consistent three-point shooters. They're not, they might hit a couple free three-pointers every other game. No, they're draining multiple threes every single game, and it's because Caitlin Clark is creating it for them. She's dribbling the ball into the lane, and instead of going up for it, she's popping it out, and they're wide open for three-pointers because all of the defenders are zoning in on Caitlin Clark when she's in that lane because they don't know if she's going to shoot it or she's going to hand it off to Cesano for an easy basket. But you're not even thinking about, you just left your player to go and close in on Caitlin Clark, and she didn't pop the ball out to your player, and she just hit a three-pointer. So Louisville's coach is a very good coach. He's been doing this for a while. He's been getting his teams deep into the postseason, so I'm pretty sure he'll have a game plan. I just hope that when you're in the game plan works, because sometimes it doesn't work. But very good matchups today. It's going to be some great basketball today, amazing basketball today for the women's side. Play starts at 4 p.m. my time on East Pacific Standard Time, so it's going to be nice and fun to end the day on, or maybe not, depending on how intense these games are and how much my heart's going to be going crazy and beating fast. But I'm excited to watch these games tomorrow, today and tomorrow, to see who's going to make it to the Final Four and who's going to be going down to Dallas for the Final Four and the championship. All these teams are well deserving of it. They played their hearts out. And I really hope that these next eight teams, continue to do what they've been doing and giving it everything they got, which I'm sure they will. Tomorrow's games will be Maryland versus South Carolina, and then Ohio State versus Virginia Tech. So I'll talk to you guys about those games later on today. But thanks for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. If there is a topic you guys want me to discuss or ask me any questions, please put that down in the comments. Thank you. Peace, love, happiness.